Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Grace, a music teacher with a passion for all things creative. Welcome to my channel. Here you'll find art-centered videos like my series Artist Book Club. This series is about connecting a few of my passions: reading, art, and of course, chit-chatting. I love making visual and audio art, and I thought that connecting them would be a really neat experience to try out. This club works just like any other virtual book club, where we read a book and we come together to talk about it. The challenge, however, is to create something relating to what you read. I don't care if it's a piece of music, a collage, a painting, or even just a doodle. We'll share our thoughts and artwork in the comments or through Instagram using the hashtag #ArtistsBookClub. I can't wait to see what you all think of this book, and I'm so excited to introduce our first book of the series, The Wilderness World of John Muir by Edwin Way Teale. These collections of Muir writings span across his life, honing in on the fine details of his observations of nature and people, and also asking a lot of really big questions on the purpose of life and finding balance between all your passions. So, let's get started. I originally came across this book in Yosemite a few years back and was originally a gift for someone else that I just decided to keep for myself. And boy, am I so glad I did, because this is the perfect porch tea time read. It took me so long to get through it because I had to stop out of feeling compelled to go for a run, draw some flowers, or just sit outside. It was definitely a nature-inspired, centered book, and it totally comes through in his writing. I always love reading autobiographies or published journals because they're so unique. It's always really interesting to hear about the daily life in specific historical contexts, especially, like, for example, in the beginning of the book, John Muir writes about, or Edwin Way Teale selects John Muir's writings from his boyhood in Scotland and in the US. And it was really interesting to compare and contrast the life of him at boarding school versus him on the plains in the US, in the woods, making his way through life and helping out his family, not just for thriving, but also for surviving and getting through the rough weather. It is something that I think us today, we would never get to experience what it's like to not go to a grocery store every single day, and actually have to go out and hunt for our meat and fend for ourselves in the wilderness. So that's always interesting to think about. So it's also interesting to think about, I'm sure you're wondering what I'm painting by now. There's super contrast of orange and blue. Well, this is actually, I'm using a reference of a picture I took when I was out in Bryce Canyon quite a few years ago, actually. And this was a picture I took of a tree. You'll find it, it'll come up later, in Wall Street Trail. And my family and I grew up camping out west and going on what I called national park hopping, where my dad, whose passion is geology as well as aviation, would take us on these I guess almost museum-like tours through all of these national parks, giving us a bunch of different facts. And I always was inspired by the different natures there. Sorry if this ever comes out of view. This is my first time doing a video from overhead, and I'm still working out the technological kinks, which is always fun. So, back to national park hopping. I took this particular picture because it was fascinating to see the portrait be dark and everything else, the background and such around it, be bright. Typically in a portrait, we want to highlight whatever we're portraiting. Portraiting? Let me know if that's a word in the comments, or should be a word. But the focus of this frame and the focus of this picture is actually dark, if not all black, and it was really cool to work that out. As you can tell, I'm outlining the trunks right now and will be filling in the branches and leaves later. I've loved trees. I've always been fascinated by trees. I climbed way too many as a kid for my mom to count. Don't tell her I said that growing up. And I also thought I also thought it was interesting because there was really no need for sunscreen there for a few miles, and I even took my sunglasses off to take this picture, which is a shocker. I always need my sunglasses outside. So I thought this would be an interesting challenge to draw. How this connects to the book? Well, obviously, I'm calling from one of my favorite experiences in nature, being out hiking with my family. Of course, it's nowhere near the lone journeys that John Muir took into many different wildernesses and national parks, but I still felt very inspired, and even though I took this picture on a really old iPhone, I still have it on my new phone and on my computer today. So there's something about the lasting impact of the impressions nature can leave on us. Comment below a time when you felt really inspired by nature as well. Especially a John Muir level inspiration. One of my favorites, quotes that he had was, he enjoyed the very little details in life, and especially in nature. Here's one of his reads. Pure sunshine all day, June 19th. How beautiful a rock is made by leaf shadows. Those of the live oak are particularly clear and distinct, and beyond all art and grace and delicacy, now still as if painted on stone, now gliding softly as if afraid of noise, now dancing, waltzing in swift, merry swirls, or jumping on and off sunny rocks in quick dashes, like wave embroidery on seashore cliffs. How true and substantial is this shadow beauty, and with what sublime extravagance is beauty thus multiplied? The big orange lilies are now arrayed in all their glory of leaf and flower, noble plants, in perfect health, nature's darlings. An entire paragraph just on the way leaves shadow the elements around it in life. Absolutely fascinating. He also talks about the humor in nature. For example, the idea that there's the gallop of a cricket, and how he's trying to spend hours trying to figure out how that cricket exactly made its noise just by observing, and deduced that it was on the downbeat of each jump, on the downdraft of each jump that a cricket made, that's how it made its noise. I am not a science teacher, I'm a music teacher, so I don't know if that's anatomically correct. However, I do believe that there is something to innate observation and ruthless listening, ruthless to yourself, to self-discipline. Really listen to what it is nature has to offer and what it is people have to offer. I think that's a wonderful life lesson to take away from this. Other life lessons include, enjoying the little details in life as he does. So making sure you take time out of your day to, I know this is a buzzword, but really spend some mindfulness time and notice the things around you. Whether it's the smell of your cup of coffee in the morning or just a really good hair day. Relishing in those little details make everyday life so much better, and even the worst days a little better. I also think that from this book, trying new things is crucial, especially new adventures. And these can be small as working out in the park instead of the gym, or, trying out a new restaurant when everything opens up out of your usual area, or, sitting outside and listening to life buzzing around you. And I think the trying new things really pushes into, in John Muir's eyes, pursuing multiple passions in life, that it's absolutely okay to do that. A great real life example is, today, Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, he sings opera gigs in his off season. That's awesome. I even felt inspired to start this channel as a result of pursuing my passions. So I hope you really, really enjoyed it. This is the final result. I'm pretty proud of it. It looks just like how I imagined the picture when I first took it. Use the Artist Book Club hashtag to share your thoughts on the book and creations on Instagram. And thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to post what our next book is. Let me know what you think our next book should be.